As most of you who watched E3 probably know at this point, Bethesda Game Studios is actually working on two projects that are, and I quote, in many ways different from anything we've ever done before, while at the same time bigger than everything we've done before. Todd Howard also described the games as big and crazy Bethesda-style games, and said that people will probably hear about these games even before the Elder Scrolls 6. I've already made a video discussing how I think one of these projects is a new IP called Starfield, so the question remains, what is the other big project? I think most people in the Bethesda community have assumed that Bethesda is making two new IPs or two all-new franchises, because they did say that they're doing something different from anything they've ever done before, but I personally do not think that this is necessarily the case. Bethesda's obviously still doing Elder Scrolls games, since Todd Howard did confirm that the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming at some point during E3, and they do have the rights to another Fallout game, so they are going to be making Fallout 5 at some point in the very far future. This means that they're juggling two franchises as it is. The problem with both of these two big projects being new IPs is if they were, then Bethesda would effectively be juggling 4 different video game series at one time, and Bethesda is a pretty small developer with only around 150 employees at the moment, so there's no way in hell they're big enough to juggle 4 different video game series. And yes, it's true that they wouldn't be working on all of these at the same time, but they would still be working out ideas for all of them concurrently, and all of them would still be in the back of Bethesda's mind. Even if Bethesda Game Studios expanded significantly in the coming years, most game studios with 400 or even 500 employees would not be doing 4 different series at one time. I do think that one of these two big projects is a new IP, but in my mind there's no way that both of them are, because it's way too much for a single company. You can make the argument that the two big projects are somehow related or perhaps even part of the same series, but I personally doubt this because both projects are coming before the Elder Scrolls 6, and Bethesda generally likes to space out and alternate between different installments in the same series. So I admit that this is a bit of a jump, but I think that one of these two big projects is related to either Fallout or Elder Scrolls. I think we might be able to rule out Fallout because Bethesda is still just finishing up with Fallout 4, and it doesn't make any sense to do another Fallout before the Elder Scrolls 6. I could see a Fallout game from a different developer like we had with Obsidian and New Vegas, or a Fallout MMO, but neither of these projects would be made by Bethesda Game Studios because they only do main installments for the Fallout franchise, not MMOs or side games. The next Fallout game Bethesda Game Studios is going to be making is Fallout 5 period, and Fallout 5 is not coming before the Elder Scrolls 6. So by process of elimination, I think it's related to the Elder Scrolls. The big project also cannot be Skyrim Remastered or Elder Scrolls Legends because Howard made the remark about the two projects after they revealed Skyrim Remastered and Legends at E3. Also, neither of those are even close to bigger than everything Bethesda has done before, as Todd Howard described the two projects, because Skyrim Remastered was not that difficult for Bethesda to make. I also don't believe that this big project is a spin-off game, because a spin-off wouldn't be big enough to fit Todd Howard's description of the two games. They've also already done an Elder Scrolls spin-off game in the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, so it also wouldn't be that different from anything Bethesda has ever done before. This leaves pretty much two options in my eyes. The first option is a remake of either Daggerfall, Morrowind, or Oblivion, which would definitely be pretty awesome. Someone actually reached out to Pete Hines and asked him on Twitter if Bethesda Game Studios has ever considered a Morrowind remake, and Pete responded with, "At some point we've considered pretty much everything." This really tells us barely anything, and I don't think it means that much, but maybe it's a super subtle nod towards a previous game remake. The other option is a full-blown Elder Scrolls game that's a prequel and is set way in the past. A lot of really cool things have happened in the history and lore of the Elder Scrolls universe that Bethesda hasn't directly covered in an Elder Scrolls game, so I think this option is equally as cool as a remake of Daggerfall, Morrowind, or Oblivion. This would also be a massive troll by Bethesda Game Studios, because they did come out and say that the Elder Scrolls 6 isn't happening for a long time, but if a prequel came out, they would pretty much turn the tables on that and give us Elder Scrolls content in a different form. So that's pretty much what I think about the second of the two big projects that Bethesda Game Studios is currently working on. As always, definitely take what I said in this video with a grain of salt, because this is a speculation video, and with these types of things, you never really know for sure. Regardless, that's pretty much gonna do it for me, and I'll see you in my next video.